Welcome to Navigating a Broken Vessel. I'm Dave Harris, and I want to welcome you to this episode. We are just having such a great time. I am here with one of my favorite people on earth. I've known her for, it's been 30 years, probably more than 30 years. I've always known her as Melissa Barney because that was her maiden name. But then she got married to a person whose last name is Barney. And so I thought, you know what the heck? I'm just going to call her Melissa Barney. And so Melissa, welcome. Glad to have you here. Melissa Barney.
Yes. Yep. Always good to be here.
Yep. It's always happy. Now, here's the thing. We've already met your husband.
Yes.
Tell us who your husband is.
My husband is Derek Barney. You had him on a different time. I don't know.
It was weeks ago. Something like that. In that a previous episode.
There we go. That's perfect.
Yeah, perfect. So Derek Barney, who of course is a phenomenal person, has a great story about his progress from addiction and now as a therapist. Right? Is that fair to say?
Yes. Yep.
So tell me about that.
So he started off. He was going to be a teacher, and he had back surgery. He got addicted to prescription pain pills, went to jail, went through the whole process, got clean, decided that he was going to be a therapist so that he could help other people through their addictions.
So, and that sums it up, definitely. And the previous episode where we talked about his journey from opioid addiction to a therapist, that's a previous episode. And definitely invite you to look at that if you want to look at that, the full story. But I want to talk to you, Melissa, about that from your perspective, because I think that is a story that needs to be told, right? What's it like to be the spouse of a person who has these sorts of trials that they're going through?
I thought a lot about this, and I think that a lot of times it's very lonely. A lot of time is spent helping the person who is struggling, who is going through the trial. I remember there was a time, this was back when we had landlines, and when it was found out that he had an addiction, there were lots of people that would call, and I kept like a notebook by the phone, and I would write down, so-and-so called, they said to tell you thank you, or tell you that they were thinking of you, they loved you. And it was this whole page full of people that called. And I remember standing there and I was like, what about me? Like, what about me? And I think that was probably the hardest part, is we're focusing on the person, but we're not thinking about the people behind the person who are struggling.
Yeah, because I would assume that you would also have feelings, obviously, about what's going on. Not only you're worried about, so tell me, because that's the thing I would wonder, is you're so worried about him, how do you worry about you? Or did you just not worry about you? How does that work?
I just didn't worry about me. I had 2 little kids at the time. My daughter was 5-6 months old, and then my son was 3.5, 4. And so, at that time, I'm taking care of him, worrying about him, taking care of the kids. So you kind of don't have time to take care of yourself because you're focused on everybody else.
But that's looking back. I would say that I think anyone out there would be like, that's not good. How looking back, I'm sure you would say, well, yeah, that's not good. But like looking back, how would you change things for yourself? Is there any way to change things to make it so that you could take care of yourself? Or is it just one of those things where you just have to say, okay, great, for this amount of time, I'm only going to worry about this other person. I'm not going to worry about myself, and hopefully things work out.
I think that looking back, if I knew the things that I know now, I think I definitely would have taken the time for myself. I think, going to therapy, doing self-care. I don't even remember any time I did self-care back then, but I think it's very important for those people behind the people to take care of themselves. And I think I definitely would do it different.
I've heard people say it's like being in the airplane, right? The airplane, when the oxygen masks drop, please secure your mask before helping others, right? Is that true? Is there any truth to that? Or, what are your thoughts?
Oh, definitely. That's definitely true. I did not have my oxygen mask on, no. When he got out of jail, I had probably lost about 20 pounds. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I didn't take care of myself because I was so concerned about my kids. where we were going to live. We, about a few days after he got put in jail, the place that we were living came to us and they said, we're going to evict you. And I said, well,
Because of this?
because he got arrested. And I said, he's not even here. I said, he's in jail. He's not going to be here for 30 days. I have 2 little kids. Please let me stay. And they said, no. And so at that time, I was just taking care of my kids, trying to make sure we had a place to live, all of those things. And I really wasn't concerned about myself.
So I think a lot of people would say, you just need to take care of yourself. But in the moment, I feel like it feels like it's impossible. Is that?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Because you have all of these balls in the air that you're juggling. And if you drop one of them, everything just falls apart. So I don't know if I even could have taken care of myself. I had a small support system, but, there wasn't somebody that took me aside that said, hey, you need to do this. You need to do this. I'm going to take you to do this. And I think everybody needs that support system when they're going through that.
So with this in mind, then what got you through it? How did you manage?
I had Derek's mom had a friend that she went to school with who was a member of the 70 in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And he came to visit me and he said, you're going to be okay. He said, you're going to be okay. And he said, let me give you a blessing. And he gave me a blessing. And it was probably the most beautiful blessing I've ever had in my life. And it was at that point that I realized I can do this. I'm going to be okay. I can do it. It will all be okay. And I think that relying on the Savior, knowing that he was right beside me, that he was standing there, that he was carrying me, because I know there's so many times I couldn't have done it myself. Like, I could barely get myself out of bed some mornings. And I know that he was there. I know that he was there watching over me, carrying me in those moments that I couldn't.
One of the things I've noticed is that, like, the addiction recovery program that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints offers, which is very, very similar to the 12-step program, the Alcoholics Anonymous 12-step program. One of the things I've noticed about that program is that it is centered on helping people draw closer to Jesus Christ. Do you feel like you were able to draw closer to Jesus Christ through this experience?
Oh, for sure. I know I never would have gotten through it. And we went to the addiction recovery program for years. And that support system there was amazing. Because you feel like you're alone until you go someplace where there are people who understand, who are there. We were living in a ward and we went to an addiction recovery meeting, and this person walked in and it was a member who was in our ward. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's struggling too. So you never know who is struggling, who is going to be there, who's going to be your support system.
It feels like we always feel like we're the only ones that are struggling with things. We're the only ones that have problems. And we find out, wow, everybody has problems of one sort or another. Is that your experience?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I know that there's always somebody that has the same problem, that has been through the same problem. But I think the issue is that we don't talk about it. We don't put out there that we're struggling. We don't put out there that we're having a hard time. We just, want to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and get through it. And I think there is a huge support system. We're all here to support each other. And if we just talk about it, I think we can help each other.
I completely agree with that. And that's actually one of the reasons why I thought, you know what, I want to start this podcast. I want to say, hey, I deal with mental health problems. I'm not a professional. And again, I always put the little disclaimer. I'm not a healthcare professional. I always put that in there because I'm not trying to give medical advice. I'm just trying to say, hey, these are experiences that people around us have, right? I mean, I remember you going through something, but not really knowing what you were going through. I remember it because we're looking, what, 25 or so years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little while. And I remember thinking, wow, Melissa's going through, there's no Facebook and things like
Oh,
that.
no. It was just on the news. That's how you knew.
Yeah. Which is like the worst possible
Oh,
situation.
right?
Yeah. What's funny is I used to work for the news and I thought, man, maybe I was a contributor to that stress. I hope I wasn't.
Oh,
But,
you know what? It didn't matter. It was everywhere.
sounds good. Yeah. So, I mean, one of the things that I think I want you, if you wouldn't mind, walk us through the process of walk us through the process. How did you decide to go through addiction recovery? How did you, like, what was it? Because I know from Derek's point of view, he's talked about having a bishop that reached out and helped him out. Tell us your story.
So when we found out, when everything all came out, um, we knew we needed help. And at the time, therapy wasn't huge back then. I mean, that was 20 years ago. So it wasn't a huge thing. And so we just searched and we were like, well, this looks like a good option. We'll go here. We'll see if this will help. We found meetings. They had a meeting in St. George. I think that church has been torn down now, just in the middle of town. And we would go, I think it was every Tuesday or Wednesday. We would go there, talk about it, share our story. People would share their stories. So, we always felt supported.
And a big part of that is drawing closer to the Savior. What are some of the things that you did, specifically the actions you took to draw closer to the Savior?
So I think for me, the biggest thing that I did was to pray. I think in the church we talk about how if you just pray enough, if you just read your scriptures, if you just do everything right, you'll be fine. It'll all be okay. But that's not how that happens, So I think prayer was the main thing that got me through. I would be praying 24 hours a day. I spent hours on my knees, trying to make sure that I would be okay, that he would be okay, that our kids would be okay, I just wanted us to be okay. And so the time was spent on my knees in prayer because I knew who he was as a person. I knew who he was because we've been married almost 30 years now. I knew who he was. I knew his heart. I knew his soul. People would say to me, "Are you going to get divorced?" And I was like, "No, why would I get divorced? He's going through a struggle. I love him. I know who he is. I know who he'll be. I don't ever want to leave him." And so it was just that praying that we would all just be okay.
Was there prayer also that you could get through it? Was there prayer that because I think a lot of people will pray and say, please take this away. Please take this trial away. Please make this better. Heal my boo-boo kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. I hope I'm not getting too personal, but I wanted to ask you the nature of your prayers. How did what was the nature of your prayers?
I knew this wasn't going away. This was a trial that we were going to go through, and I didn't know how long it was going to last. And my prayers were more of help him know who he is, help me to know what I need to do, help me to get through this, help me know what my kids need. They were just little. And so that was over and over again, just help me to know what to do.
Did you feel like you were blessed with knowing what to do?
I think so. I think there were a lot of times where, getting evicted was a huge thing. And I was like, what am I going to do? I don't have a place to live. My husband is in jail. I have no idea what's going to happen. And I was guided to the same bishop that helped him through his addiction by running. He helped us find a home. He helped us find a place to live in his ward. And it all worked out the way it was supposed to. I know that. But it was hard to have that faith that everything's going to be okay.
Looking back, I think a lot of people, and I asked Derek the same thing. I asked him, I said, looking back, would you rather not have experienced this process, or do you feel like the process has made you a more refined person and I don't want to say glad that you went through it, but you understand why you went through it? What are your thoughts that direction?
Oh, for sure. I I am there were times where I was like, I really don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I mean, it would have been so much easier to divorce him and leave and, you know, but then I have the trial of I don't have a husband that I love. My kids don't have their father. Um, and so I was like, we're going through this. We're going to do it. And at the outside of it, looking back, I'm so thankful for it. I'm so thankful for it. I have seen God's hand in every part of our lives, every single part of our lives. His hand has been there. I can draw. If you had a whiteboard, I would draw you a little map and it would show every single part. He has been there. We have been guided every part. And I'm so thankful because he's able to help so many people. And it has literally changed our lives.
And that's, I think, a thing that people don't generally understand in a lot of cases. When we go through trials, we have the opportunity to help other people who will also go through similar trials. And in my life, I found that to be extremely rewarding. And I feel like, based on the way you're talking to me, I think you feel the same way.
Oh, for sure. When we started the business, our therapy business, I just wanted to help people. I just wanted to help people to get them to know that they're worth it, to get them to know that they're loved. Like, I just wanted to help people. And I see it every day. Every day I get to talk to people who have lost hope, who are struggling and who need someone. And when they call me, because I'm the one that answers the phone and they're crying, and I can be like, hey, I can help you. Like, I can be there. What do you need? I can set you up with somebody. I can, do whatever. I will help you. And I am so thankful that I'm able to do that.
It's got to feel good knowing that you understand, like truly understand what they're going through as well. It's not like, oh, I understand what you're going through, what people will sometimes say to people when they really don't understand. It feels like, from your perspective, you can honestly say, I understand what you're going through. I've been there. I know how hard it is. And I remember people telling me that sometimes, and I would say something like, I get it. You did okay, but this is me I'm talking about,
Mhm.
right? And for sometimes I'd be like, man, I don't want to hear your successes. I'm struggling to have successes myself, that kind of a thing. But I think it does help to have someone who has experienced this sort of thing, because yes, they can talk to you in a way that makes sense, right? Is that
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think that's what makes Derek such a good therapist is that he's been there. He has that lived experience. Um, and he knows exactly what they're going through. And he just wants them to feel loved. And I want them to feel loved. I want their first interaction when they meet me to know that they're loved, that they are somewhere that they feel safe.
Tell me, one of the things that we didn't ask. So I listened back to when I recorded our interview with Derek, your husband. He mentioned, kind of in passing, that he had met Elder Holland. First of all, I wanted to ask you, when you say the member of the 70, was it Elder Holland at the time who was a member of the 70? He was in the 12, I think.
Yeah, he was in the 12.
So,
No, it was somebody else.
so tell me, so he said it, and then I kind of didn't ask him about it. Is it okay if I ask you about that
Sure.
experience?
It it is it is an amazing experience. So he was in the middle of his addiction. He was really struggling. It was before he had gone to jail. His mom knew everybody. It's pretty awesome. She's lived here for her whole life, and so she knew Elder Holland's mom. So before he had gone to jail, she pulled her up in the phone book, called her, and was like, "Hey, my son is having this struggle. What do you think?" And and Elder Holland was there at the time, and he got on the phone and he said, he's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. And so, we had that. And then after he got out of jail, we were at Smith's and we were walking around And I said, "Hey, isn't that Elder Holland?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, it is." And so I pulled this. I had a library checkout receipt in my purse, and I pulled it out, and I was like, "You should go ask him for his autograph." And he walked over there, and we talked to him for a sec. He didn't tell him any of his struggles, nothing that was going on. And he wrote on this receipt, he said, "Derek, thank you for being a good husband and father."
Awesome.
That was it.
Yeah.
And he knew, and I knew that God was there. I knew it. If he could tell somebody through someone else that he was a good husband and father, I knew he was there.
That's so awesome. Elder Holland, of course, is one of my favorite people. Passed away just a couple months ago, as of right now. But and even Shelley, my wife. So Shelley was on the podcast a few weeks back as well. And Shelley always tells me the story of when Elder Holland touched her knee. Right, he's just walking past, and it's like, "Hey, how are you?" And touched her knee. And went, "Oh, Elder Holland touched my knee." That
I would
kind
be
of
doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's right. And so we always share that story about how fun that is. But he's just a phenomenal person, and certainly one who cares about people who are struggling, trials, mental health trials, whatever that might be. Just an amazing person. I definitely going to miss him for sure.
For sure. I think he was one of the main ones in the church who brought out mental health. Everybody's struggling, but everybody's keeping it under wraps. Nobody wants to see, what you're going through. And so I think he was the first person that was like, "Hey, let's talk about it. Let's do something about it."
Bring it out from the shadows. That's I've found that the interesting thing about trials in general, and I think Elder Holland talks about this too, is that trials are, we need trials. I think we agreed when we came here that, yes, I want to go through trials, right? I mean, we want to experience hardship so that we can learn, so that we can grow, so that we can be refined. And the scriptures are replete with that, talking about that refiner's fire, right? You look at the life of Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith was refined through significant trials, ones that he was like on the verge of complete destruction, right? I mean, he's just, I don't know if I can keep doing this, and writing down his prayer. And that's one of the things I think is so great, is in the Doctrine and Covenants, where we have the prayer that he offered in Liberty Jail, and the fact that we have that it was written down, that it was shared, that it's widely available. Anyone in the world can look at it in the Doctrine and Covenants and see that it was not like, "Hey, I'm going to join this church. I'm going to, everything's going to be great. As long as I'm doing what's right, the Lord will bless me." It's almost like a reactive sort of way. It's kind of like, well, I have an expectation that if I'm following the commandments and doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I will not receive any trials. And so when those trials come, then the person is like, "Well, now what?" Now they're angry because it's like, "I was doing everything I was supposed to do. What's going on here?" Right? And it's almost like this reactive way. And what I've found, at least in my own thinking, is that it's proactive is what we want to do. We want to be a servant of Jesus Christ. We want to be a disciple of Jesus Christ. We want to read our scriptures and say our prayers and do all those things that we're supposed to, not because we expect that we will be blessed, but because it's the right thing to do. And if we can continue to do those things when those trials come, then we have a foundation to go on. It's not that we're upset. We recognize that it's through those trials. It doesn't make them easy.
Oh, for sure.
But we recognize the need for those trials to be refined and to draw closer to Jesus Christ. And so I look at you and I say, Melissa Barney, I feel like, in my knowledge of you, I feel like you, of course, are closer to the Savior. I can feel it just sitting here and talking to you. I can feel that you are closer to the Savior than back in high school when we went to high school together, right? And I would hope, and again, I'm not trying to fish for you to compliment me, but I would hope that someone could say the same thing about me. Like, hey, Dave, I've noticed that you are a better person than you were in the past. And that comes, I can tell you, that comes through those trials. And I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
I am definitely a different person, for sure. I think everything that Derek went through helped me to be more understanding of people, more of what they're going through. And when I was younger, I did have that mentality. Like, if I just do everything that's right, I'll be fine. I won't have any trials. I'll be good. Like, I was that type of person. And I am so thankful that I was able to go through that trial, because I am a completely different person. I'm able to see people, I think, as they are. I want to find those people who are struggling, who need help, so that I can help them, so I can help them see the light, that there is hope. So I think I'm definitely a different person, and the trials, I would do it all over again, so I could become that person.
Shelley makes fun of me because I one time prayed for trials because I thought the same thing. It's like, if trials will refine me, I want them, bring them on. And then of course I got hit hard with some serious trials. I'm like, what have I done?
Oh, crap.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I get it. I know I need trials, but I'm a little bit a little gun shy, kind of like, okay, well, me.
You know what happened before. Yeah, I'm not doing that again.
That's exactly right. But it is one of those things where, I think every time we have a trial, there's a crossroads. And that crossroads is, are you going to take the left side where you're just going to blame God and be angry and leave everything and say, forget it? Or are you going to choose the right side in that fork in the road and say, it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter how I feel. It doesn't matter what's going on. If I'm being evicted or whatever it is in your situation, I'm going to keep on drawing closer to the Savior. I'm going to keep on praying, even if it's 24 hours a day. I'm going to keep on reading the scriptures. And I think when you can make that choice, that proactive choice, not this, I'll tell you what, you bless me and then I'll do all these things. It's kind of like, it doesn't matter all these things I'm going through. I'm going to keep on doing the right things, going to keep on trying to help people. And then you make it through the trial. I'm not saying it makes it easy.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it makes it like, it's not like you get blessed with winning $1 million in the lottery, right? It's just you feel different. You feel different. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade it for the relationship that I have with the Savior now is so much more than it was before. I thought it was good before. I thought it was, I thought I was a good disciple. I had no idea how much better it could be on the other side. How much better the relationship could be, how much better my relationship with people could be. The compassion, the love, I want to have that for everybody because I want everybody to know they're not alone. There is somebody there. It could just be one person, but there is somebody out there that cares, that loves you, that wants to help you. They are there.
Awesome. And maybe we can be that for other people as well.
Right.
Awesome. Melissa, thank you so much. Melissa Barney. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I do want to tell you all, thank you so much for joining us on this episode, Navigating a Broken Vessel. I want to hear your thoughts, the trials you've experienced, what you were able to do to get through those trials as well. How can you help other people through your experiences and by sharing those experiences? Do go to our website, navigatingabrokenvessel.com, Facebook and Instagram, Navigating a Broken Vessel, as well as just sending me an email, dave@navigatingabrokenvessel.com. Thanks so much for joining us. Good to have you here. We'll see you on the next one.